Welcome to this soft pastel demonstration of a Kingfisher and Minnow. This will be a time-lapse video. I will begin by applying a light color of soft pastel to the entire surface and then add the light blue on top of that. I'm using a 500 grit UArt paper. I find that it's a little bit more abrasive than I like. Normally I use a 600 grit paper that I like much better. But we'll work with this, and for blending I will use a piece of foam. It's a good applicator to blend the colors on the surface without being abrasive on your fingers. I have lightly drawn in the position of my Kingfisher in some white pastel pencil. So I'm trying to add some branches to the background without covering where the Kingfisher will go. I don't want to overly define my branches. I want them to appear as if they are in the background. So I'm adding some light colors along the edges of each limb and try to blend it to give it a little bit of a blurry effect. I'm adding the limb that the Kingfisher will be sitting on, and I will pay closer attention to add more detail so that it brings the limb forward into the picture. Now I would like to begin outlining the Kingfisher. I will use a dark blue pastel pencil to outline the bird, and I will also add some areas where it requires some dark shading. I feel pretty good about the dimensions of my bird. So now I'm going to add a little bit darker blue in some of the areas between the limbs. I think it will add just a little bit of dimension to the picture. I'm going to use a small brush and some isopropyl alcohol to darken my darkest blues. That way, when I start applying soft pastels over these darker colors, they won't smudge and cause some of the colors to get muddy. I'll fill in the top of his head with some dark blue, and again define the darker blues and add some black around the Kingfisher's eye. And I will go over it again with some alcohol to create a darker permanent effect. I'm also using a dark, very dark sea green to add some color to the top of his head. And then I will start adding some feather definitions to his head. There are many species of kingfishers, and this particular bird is a common kingfisher. And I was curious how to know the difference between the male and the female. And with this species, the males have a very dark lower beak, and a female, the bottom of their lower beak would be orange. So this particular bird is a male. There's a small minnow in the bird's beak that I will lightly define. I'm going to move on to painting the bird's chest. I'm going to use some very dark rusty orange and lighter shades of orange to highlight the soft feathers. I will use a blending stick to blend these together, and it also creates a very nice texture in the chest feathers. I will use a light orange to create some fluffy soft down feathers on his chest. I am finishing the white band above his wing, and now I will add the darker blues to his large wing and use some alcohol and brush to blend it. Feet are very small, so always make sure you have a very sharp point on your pastel pencil. Now that his feet are done, I'll start focusing on completing the feathers in his wing. I will use a light shade of blue to add the areas of sheen to his wing feathers. Then I'll start adding some of the details using the very light sea green and some dark blue to define some of the individual feathers in his wing. Add some blurry effects to the background. called bokeh. They're circles that are drawn on the paper and then blended with a light color to create a lens effect to the background. I hope you have enjoyed this time-lapse video, and I hope you will join me in the future for more techniques, lessons, and demonstrations in soft pastel. Please press like and subscribe to my channel. If you click the bell icon, you can receive notifications of all my new videos. So thank you for watching.